first group of 4. Second group of 4 then. O should have been W equals 60. T would have been X equals a negative 81. L should have been D equals 104. And P should have been K equals a negative 98.
I want to go over OLP.
O says W divided by 4 plus 7 equals 22. Remember, the whole goal is to get what by itself? The variable. I want to get this by itself. I have to undo what's happening to it. How do I undo addition? 22 take away 7 is 15. If I look at where my variable is, this is what I want to get by itself. It's being divided by 4. What's the opposite of division? Multiplication. 4 times 15 is 60. Everybody got a chance to copy this? I still see people that don't feel the need to copy. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to feel sympathy tomorrow when you're not able to do the quiz. D divided by a negative 8 plus 37 equals 24. I want to get the variable by itself. I have to undo the addition. Subtraction. The 24 and the 37 have different signs. I keep the sign with the larger absolute value. It's definitely going to be negative. And I take 37 and I subtract 24 from it. And I'm going to get 13. So it's a negative 13. D is being divided by a negative 8. The opposite of division is? So I multiply by a negative 8. It's going to leave me D equals 104. Okay? And P, right?
So, do I put it down if I have the work ready? That's right.
You're all right. I mean, you probably are. There's a lot of people that are writing nothing down in this classroom. And I can see who's writing and who isn't. And also had no work on their sheet. What does that tell me?
They probably copied.
And they're still not learning. Right? That's what it tells me. When I walk around and I see no work,
I understand
and I see nobody copying anything down, it tells me that they're not really putting forth effort. Do you get it?
Yeah.
Why do I ask people to take notes? So that they have a better understanding. If you already get it, I can't force anybody to take notes, but I certainly can encourage it. Did you get them all right? Do you understand completely? So tomorrow when you get the quiz, are you going to ask me questions, or are you just going to know how to do them? Why? If you know how to do them, you shouldn't need to ask me a question.
I don't really need to go over to
Okay?
Are we allowed to use notes tomorrow?
I have not determined that yet. Question.
Okay, so when you asked us to do work on our paper, you said if we use the calculator still write down the steps, so that's kind of still kind of.
Look, what I'm saying about using a calculator is, if I don't know what 24 minus 37 is, I've still shown you the what? The work. I'm saying it's okay to punch 24 minus 37 in the calculator to get what? Negative 13. I still write the step down, don't I? If I don't know what a negative 8 times a negative 13 is, it's okay to use a calculator to get that. But I still showed that I multiplied both sides by what? Negative 8. I have to show those steps so that if I go back and find that my answer was wrong, I can see where the mistake was made. Without the work, you can't tell. All it is the wrong answer. I can guess. Most of the time, I can tell you where the mistake is made by looking at the answer. But that's just from years of doing the same thing over and over and over again. Okay, next row. E, you should have y equals negative 3. G, u equals 105. D, m equals 11. S, x equals 135. G? Again, remember, the goal is to get the variable by itself. I have to undo what's happening to it. I have to undo the addition. Subtraction. Please be careful putting these together. A negative 13 and a negative 2 is what? Negative 15. These have the same signs. They're both negative. I keep their sign and I add the two numbers. Now, I want to talk about this. Negative u over 7. It's the same as writing this, negative u over 7. Or it's the same as u over a negative 7. It doesn't really matter which way I think about that being written. I do know that I want u to be positive. And the minute I see that this is negative here, I know that whatever I multiply by is also got to be what? Negative. So I'm going to multiply by a negative what? 7. The 7s are going to cancel. The negative times a negative is going to make a positive. That's what's going to leave me the positive u. I multiplied this side also by the same thing then, a negative 7. A negative times a negative again makes a what? Positive. And 7 times 15 is? No, 105. The goal was to get the variable by itself. I have to undo the addition. What do I use? Subtraction. I want to get rid of the 3 that's in the denominator. I'm really dividing by 3. The opposite of dividing is multiplying. And I multiply both sides by 3. Because this 3 is in the denominator. And I want it to cancel out and leave just what? The 1x, or just x. $45 times 3. 135. Even if I use the calculator, all of this is still going to be written on my sheet of paper. I may have punched in 55 minus 10 on the calculator to get 45. I may have punched in 45 times 3 on the calculator to get 135, but I'm still going to have shown all those steps. Last row. R, you should have t equals a negative 14. H, you should have Q equals a negative 65. I, N equals negative 2. W, X equals 144. Do I need to do anything from the last row? I'm sorry? R? I want to get the variable by itself. Here I've got to undo the subtraction. I undo subtraction with addition. Again, I see a lot of mistakes putting these two numbers together. When I put these two numbers together, one is negative, one is positive. They have different signs. I keep the sign of the larger absolute value, so it's going to be negative. I subtract one of them from the other. So I take 116 and subtract 18, and it gives me a negative 98. Next thing I'm going to do, divide by 7. A negative divided by a positive is going to be a negative, and it goes into it 14 times. So it would be a negative 14. We good? W? I've seen this over and over today. This negative that's here is attached to the 1/16th x. It's not attached to the 7. Because it's in front of the what? 1/16th, not in front of the what? 7. What is the 7? Positive or negative?
Positive.
How do I get rid of it?
You subtract.
I subtract it. This is still negative when I bring it down. These both have the same sign, so I add them together and keep their sign. I want my variable to be positive. Right now it's what?
Negative.
Negative. So I know for sure whatever I'm multiplying by is going to be negative. And I want to get rid of this denominator, which has a 16 in it, so it's a negative 16. The negative times a negative makes a positive. The 16s cancel, just leaving me my x. My negative times my negative makes a positive. And then 9 times 16 is 144.